Welcome, folks, to another episode of the Knicronomicon. Other than 2 for 2 over a 0-2 starter of the first game over the first few games, we beat a top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks team that came out of their lowest shooting percentage, lowest scoring over for Giannis since the Christmas game. They come off shooting lights out against Miami the other night. The same night, the New York Knicks came off a 16-point lead, the highest differential we had against the Cavs, no less. Over 28 points plus a triple-double off Julius Randle. He was all over the court, always splashed over, even when we had loose balls, low over the fast break. Oh my God, RJ Barrett's just amazing. Finishing over the court whenever he could see fit. Nice shot selection. The Cavs were just not clearing it, especially over mid-corner spots. The guys couldn't shoot up deep. Sexton was just struggling to just drive over to the paint. Drummond was the only one basically finishing around the court. And that's usually where you don't want to lead him around when he was leading over in blocks. Darius Garland was basically just dishing out whenever he could sit up over the floor. And it's just bad because they barely got any superstars. It's kind of tough because both teams over in the rebuilding process. But the Knicks just felt more suited. They just felt more disciplined. Drew Bullock that allowed, I think, a 4-point play. He got a buzzer beater later in the second half before we went to halftime. Really clearing up shots, really fixing up when he saw decently. We got better shooting percentages except for Elfrid Payton that went up to a 6 to 15. Not the best way to go about it. Other than that, Kevin Knox came up, finishing when needed, using his skill plays when needed over to finish. Pick up over around the paint, uses driving. The guy has size and he utilizes it to basic motifs. I don't know how we're going to do next game because I think we got Toronto next up. And going over our first 4 games with a 2-2 record, pretty decent. Frank Ntilikina was all around the court. I wanted probably Alec Burke to have a few minutes, but he came over injured. Coach's decision to drop out, lack of depth over the team. So it's kind of tough to see some of your younger guys not giving up that much minutes. But they're giving up most of what needed, especially where, oh my God, it just felt like Randle. I'm just praising the guy over the last 2 games. I'm not saying he's not a bad scorer. I'm saying that he's not the most prolific all-around player. And over the last 2 games, he's been leading over rebounds and assists. Coming out with the primitive scoring of the team. Dishing out, he's gelling over, giving out the ball over to Mitchell Robinson whenever needed. Over to finish over lobs. 2 players finished over 50% from behind the arc percentage. We did well except RJ Barrett that was practically using his skills to just finish around the rim. Practically just score that way. I'm not saying that's a terrible maneuver. Drummond did come with 18 points. With, I think, 15 rebounds. Colin Sexton came out with 20. We couldn't finish them around. We still have an issue with driving over the paint and hustling out guys like JaVale McGee or at least Sexton or trying to stop baseline. It's just a matter of if we could hustle more than the other team, and if we don't, it's going to cost us points. Luckily enough, we finished over a double-digit lead come when we were in the second half, and we were feeling comfortable making over better decisions. I just felt like this just been a better team. Hopefully they don't decline because they forget they still have a month of basketball to go come the new year. Other than that, I gotta say it's a pretty successful game for the Knicks. Only players that didn't show that much of a positive over is Nerlens Noel, Frank Ntilikina, that still is getting overly decisively picked over. If we can use either him or Dennis Smith, because we have an issue over with homegrown point guards. Even though one's a skill player, one's a basic floor general that has a lack of a ball IQ and can't hustle that much. I would just say to trade both of them, in my opinion. I don't really give a shit. They're just tall Negroes with just lack of ball skill, mediocre shooting motifs, and Dennis just has his athleticism to even still keep him over a job with still his youth, only giving him excuse. Because if it was me, I would just release him. Finishing over, leading and also in rebounds, coming second over to Mitchell Robinson is 10 over 12 from Julius Randle with 11 assists leading in that category, and with 28 points, finishing over with a triple dub. Pretty good. Efficiency coming straight from Robinson. He's always there to finish around the glass. Same thing over with Dennis. I know, I'm kidding. It was R.J. Barrett. Great over drives. He finished over with 12 points. Couldn't shoot over the corner. I just found it really whack, especially over Elfrid Payton that has a lower shooting percentage, especially from behind the arc tonight. So, coming over from Barrett, got 0%. I don't think he even attempted over a shot of Payton's coming up with 50. At least going for making his 2 shots over 4. So, yeah, we were lacking over fouls other than Randle just obviously not struggling over the big, because all they had to do was just get a decent rebounder, and the Cavs were just better off hustling over for the ball. Yet they couldn't keep up. They couldn't clearly shoot over whenever that's all they're decisively going over. They just try to shoot over the key and just see if they can just outpace us. They didn't seem to do that often. And you could just see off the shot chart, these guys were obviously struggling. Off 36% over field goal range, and most of it was decisively off putback scoring that they were even coming close. With most of these X's coming from over the right mid corner, these guys were obviously struggling to shoot. Larry Nance Jr. was struggling to finish off the glass. Even putback scoring was an issue. Sin Osman was struggling to shoot over baseline. I saw that a lot. Dante Exum didn't seem like, and Damian Dotson, a former teammate, he wasn't that bad, but he wasn't that vocal of the team. The only D Wade that I want to see on a team is on the Heat. Dylan Wade, you get out of my court. Other than that, really good display. I'm liking the momentum that the Knicks have, but these are against lower teams that don't focus that much over the perimeter game, and primarily relying on wide athletic player to do get the job done, and they're not that great on the offensive play unless they gather some heap of momentum. You have the Bucks and the Cavs are not the best teams. So unless we have an all-around team that's great that we can't keep up with, that's probably going to be a well more disciplined coached team out of the Raptors. I see us losing a game when we face Toronto. So yeah, that's practically the final Knicronomicon of 2020. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. But yeah, this is fun. We were better off turnovers. Yeah, we were just lowly we were still having a problem passing. But if efficiency and we're trying to get the ball, and we're better all around at scoring and hustling over for the ball and getting those rebounds. Turnover is still going to be a factor, but if the team's not doing anything about it, it's not going to be much of an issue. Especially when we were better at shooting. So that's practically all I got. We are probably not going to get a lot until next year. Get it? So that's it coming from the Knicks. We end 2-2, coming into our 5th game of the season. So that's it coming from me. Hope you guys have a happy New Year.